Have you ever stared at a demanding task, knowing exactly what needs to be done, but your mind just refuses to cooperate?
Oh, absolutely.
The clock ticks by, hours blur, and you end up feeling completely drained, yet strangely unaccomplished.
It's such a common feeling.
It really is. It's a familiar, frustrating loop for so many of us in today's always-on world. Truly focusing seems almost impossible sometimes.
Yeah, the distractions are relentless.
That's exactly why we're taking a deep dive today. We really want to cut through that constant hum of distraction.
Good plan.
We've pulled together a stack of really incredible insights from two fantastic sources. How to stay focused in a distracted world from Asana and the attention edge from Aruda.
Both great resources.
Right, and our mission is clear. We want to help you understand why focus feels so elusive, then equip you with practical, science-backed strategies.
Stuff people can actually use.
Exactly. To not just get into the zone, but to minimize distractions, take charge of your time, and crucially, protect yourself from that dreaded burnout.
That burnout protection is key.
So let's start there. When we talk about focus, it's more than just simply concentrating, isn't it? What's the deeper meaning our sources unpacked for us?
Yeah, it's a great distinction to make because what's truly essential here is understanding focus as a mental state
Okay.
where you consciously direct your attention to a single task while actively filtering out everything else.
Actively filtering?
Right. It's fundamentally an act of prioritization. Like Steve Jobs famously put it.
Oh, what do you say?
Focusing is about saying no.
Ah, that quote really nails it. Just saying no.
Pretty much.
So if focus is essentially about these strategic no's, why is it so incredibly vital for us today? What's really at stake if we don't master it?
Well, it's crucial because it's the key to tackling complex problems, thinking creatively, and just working efficiently.
Yeah, getting stuff done.
Right. It helps us not only get things done better and faster, but also to avoid burnout. Imagine ending your day feeling genuinely accomplished instead of scattered.
That would be amazing.
That's the power of focus right there.
And yet, achieving that state feels like battling a powerful current, doesn't it? Why is it such an uphill battle to stay focused in our modern world? What's this hidden landscape of distraction we're navigating?
Well, if we look at the bigger picture, a massive culprit is just information overload.
Okay.
Research from back in 2011 found the average American consumed, get this, 34 gigabytes of information daily.
34. Wow.
Yeah, just during leisure time alone. And that was before smartphones became basically glued to our hands, constantly vying for our attention.
Right, before the constant pinging.
Exactly. Today, our brains are just pulled in a dozen directions simultaneously. It's relentless.
Wow, 34 gigabytes back then, I can only imagine now. So it's not just a feeling of being overwhelmed, it's a measurable saturation. But beyond the sheer volume, what's the real personal cost? The stuff we often overlook.
Yeah, this leaves us to consider what's the actual toll. Information overload isn't just a minor annoyance. It leads to reduced efficiency, increased stress,
Definitely feel that.
decision fatigue, and even more errors in our work.
Makes sense.
And what's maybe even more concerning is its link to reduced memory retention. It's almost as if we've outsourced our cognitive load to our devices.
Huh. Like we don't need to remember things anymore.
Sort of. And that diminishes our natural capacity.
And that leads right into these powerful concepts you mentioned earlier, the attention economy and attention residue. Can you elaborate on how those play into this constant battle for our focus?
Sure. Your attention is perhaps the most valuable currency today. That's why advertisers spend billions trying to capture it.
Right, the attention economy.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. Every time you switch tasks, you incur this hidden cognitive cost. It's called attention residue.
Attention residue. What is that exactly?
It means your brain actually lingers on the previous task for, on average, 23 minutes and 15 seconds.
Wait, 23 minutes. Seriously.
Seriously. Which makes it genuinely impossible to give your full, undivided attention to the new one right away. So mastering your attention isn't just about productivity, it's really about gaining a significant competitive edge in this hyper-connected world.
That 23-minute tax on our brains after switching tasks, that's profound. It makes you wonder, what are the biggest culprits driving all this costly task switching in our daily lives? Our sources pinpoint 4 common reasons, and the first one is probably something many of us feel pressured to do: multitasking.
Oh yeah, definitely. Our sources revealed that nearly 3 in 4 employees, specifically 72%, feel this intense pressure to multitask.
72%. That's huge.
It is, but as the research clearly shows, true multitasking, it's a myth.
A myth. Really?
Yep. What we're actually doing is just rapid task switching. Our brains aren't wired for true parallel processing. We simply jump between tasks at lightning speed.
Okay, so jumping back and forth.
Exactly. And this constant switching comes with a significant mental cost for every single jump. It leads to less work done, more errors, and greater fatigue.
Less done, more errors.
What?
Doesn't sound efficient.
Not at all. As Dr. Sahar Yusuf, a cognitive neuroscientist at UC Berkeley, powerfully emphasizes, multitasking is a myth. What you're really doing is switching between tasks.
Right.
She says it's almost always more efficient to focus on one task at a time.
So if multitasking is a myth and just a costly form of task switching, how do we finally conquer this monster? What's the fix?
Well, the most effective solution seems to be intentionally scheduling dedicated focus time.
Okay, blocking it out.
Exactly. Think about methods like time boxing, where you estimate and block out a specific amount of time for a task,
Right. Yep.
or time blocking, which involves grouping similar tasks together on your calendar.
Grouping things like emails, maybe?
Precisely. And the practical tips are straightforward. Literally block this time out on your calendar, set your do not disturb status,
Crucial.
eliminate all distractions by turning off notifications, and yes, putting your phone away.
Put the phone away. Hard but necessary.
And importantly, taking a short break when your focus session is done. Recharge a bit.
Good point.
In fact, studies show that when leaders actively encourage these focus sprints, teams reported being a remarkable 43% more productive.
43%. Just from focused sprints.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty significant.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
What's the next significant drain on our focus that our sources highlight?
It's the incessant monitoring of email and messaging tools. That constant checking.
Oh, I am so guilty of this. The open inbox.
You and most people. Our data shows that 80% of knowledge workers admit to working with their inbox open.
80%.
Yeah. And checking notifications constantly means you're perpetually task switching and losing momentum.
Using that flow state.
Exactly. It can take upwards of 20 minutes just to regain momentum after even a brief interruption.
20 minutes. Just from a quick glance.
Often, yes. This constant fragmentation makes it almost impossible to tap into those truly productive states like flow or deep work. Dr. Yusuf nailed it when she observed, most people I know don't have a work day anymore.
What does she mean?
They have these little pockets of time between meetings and calls and answering emails where they have 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there, and that's their workday.
Wow, that sounds depressingly familiar. Just fragmented pockets.
Right.
So how do we reclaim our workdays from the tyranny of the inbox?
The proven strategy is to answer emails and messages in batches.
Batching, okay.
An MIT study specifically found higher productivity for those who checked email in dedicated blocks, not constantly.
Makes sense. Dedicate time for it.
Exactly. Schedule a specific time, say 2 30-minute blocks each day. Turn off all notifications outside those times.
All of them.
All of them. And crucially, communicate your new preferences to your team. Let them know when you'll be checking messages.
Manage expectations. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That feels like a massive step towards reclaiming sanity, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our third major barrier. The undeniable fatigue from virtual meetings. I think we've all felt that Zoom gloom set in.
Oh, absolutely. The struggle is real. Dr. Sahar Yusuf's research shows we actually expend significantly more brain power on video calls compared to face-to-face interactions.
Really? More brain power. Why is that?
Well, think about processing all those little squares, trying to read nonverbal cues that aren't quite there.
Yeah.
It's taxing. A 2020 Microsoft study found video fatigue setting in around the 30-minute mark.
30 minutes. That fast.
Yep. Whereas face-to-face focus can often last 45 to 60 minutes before fatigue hits.
Interesting difference.
As Dr. Yusuf succinctly puts it, video conferencing is actually physiologically more draining and requires more neurological effort to stay alert and maintain attention.
Physiologically more draining.
Yeah. And what's fascinating, maybe even a little weird, is that even seeing your own face on screen during a call is a documented drain on your focus.
Get out. Seeing myself makes me less focused.
Apparently so. It adds another layer of self-monitoring or distraction.
Huh. It's incredible how much these subtle things impact our energy. So what's the tangible fix for that virtual meeting overload and the fatigue it causes?
The key is really planning virtual meetings with extreme intentionality.
Be deliberate.
Exactly. Always ask yourself first, Is this meeting truly necessary? Often, asynchronous updates or a quick message will suffice.
Avoid the meeting if possible.
Right. When you do meet, keep them shorter, ideally 30 minutes or less, given that fatigue point.
Okay.
Share agendas and materials well in advance so people are prepared. Consider your team's preferred meeting times. Maybe avoid that post-lunch slump.
Good tip.
And make it a point to end meetings a few minutes early. Give people a breather, a vital brain break before the next thing.
Love that. Build in buffer time.
Yeah. And that practical tip, turn off your self-view during calls. Try it. It really does seem to help reduce that cognitive load.
Okay, maybe we'll try that one. Hide self-view.
Yeah.
Got it. And finally, what's the last major focus Sapper our sources want us to be aware of?
It's a really widespread issue, a fundamental lack of clarity at work.
Lack of clarity. How does that sap focus?
Well, when you don't have clear goals, clear responsibilities, or a prioritized roadmap, it becomes incredibly difficult to know what to focus on.
Ah, okay. So you're just kind of drifting.
Exactly. This leads to splitting your attention across too many things, getting lost in minor, urgent, but not important tasks, and ultimately feeling unproductive despite putting in the hours.
Busy, but not productive.
That's the feeling. Our research indicates that 29% of knowledge workers feel overworked precisely because of this lack of clarity.
Almost a third. Wow.
And as Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, wisely states, clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not.
Ooh, I like that. Clarity about what matters reveals what doesn't. That's powerful. So how can we, gain that clarity and cut through the noise of competing demands?
It really starts with creating and communicating clear, actionable goals.
Actionably being key.
Definitely. Using frameworks like SMART goal-specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound provides a powerful roadmap.
The classic SMART goals.
They work. And then consistently track your progress towards these goals. Make it visible.
Right. Keep them top of mind.
And here's a truly powerful tip from Dr. Yusuf's lab. Set daily MITs.
MITs.
Most important tasks. Identify just 1 to 3 things, that's it, that you absolutely want to accomplish each day.
Just 1 to 3. Seems manageable.
It is, and the impact. Her team saw a 28% increase in individual productivity and, get this, a 42% reduction in burnout just by implementing daily MITs.
28% more productive and 42% less burnout, just from picking 1 to 3 tasks.
Seems so. It provides intense clarity and focus for the day.
Okay, that's a huge takeaway. MITs.
Got it.
So we've identified the biggest problems: multitasking, inbox overwhelm, meeting fatigue, lack of clarity, and some immediate powerful solutions. But what if we could go deeper, actively build our ability to concentrate, leveraging what science tells us about our brains and bodies?
Yeah, moving beyond just fixing the problem.
Exactly. What's the first science-backed strategy our sources offer for really boosting our focus muscle?
The first tip is really interesting. Create distinct triggers that signal to your brain it's time to focus.
Triggers. Like Pavlov's dogs.
Kind of. Our brains are incredible at creating cognitive associations, so if you consistently pair a specific environment or action with a stimulus, like, say, clearing your desk and then immediately diving into writing,
Right.
your brain will begin to anticipate focus when those cues are present. It learns, clean desk means writing time.
So building a routine around the focus.
Exactly. Consider ideas like lighting a particular candle only when you do deep work, drinking a specific beverage, listening to a certain type of instrumental music.
Like a focus playlist?
Yeah, or even wearing specific work clothes if you work from home, or going to a particular spot, a library, a specific chair that you associate only with deep work.
Creating a ritual. I like that. It's striking how much this parallels the idea of physical training, that focus isn't just a fixed state, but something we can actively develop, like a muscle.
That's a great analogy.
What does that analogy truly unlock for us in terms of tapping into our own biology? How can we train it biologically?
Exactly. This leads us right into the second tip. Tap into your biological clock, your chronotype.
Chronotype, like being a morning person or a night owl.
Precisely. Nobel Prize-winning research has illuminated how our circadian rhythms are essentially these master biological clocks, hardwired to regulate alertness and energy throughout the day.
So,
Knowing yours, whether you're naturally an early bird, a night owl, or somewhere in between, means you can strategically schedule your focus blocks during your natural peak energy hours.
work with your body's rhythm, not against it.
Yes, align your most demanding work with your brain's intrinsic rhythm for maximum impact. So, for instance,
Yeah.
if you're AM shifted, a morning lark, you're most productive early in the morning. That's your prime time for creative tasks that require fresh cognitive energy.
Get the big stuff done first.
Right. For those who are biphasic, your peak focus is typically between maybe 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. You might have an energy dip midday, maybe get an evening second wind.
Okay, like a midday slump.
Yeah. So focus on your biggest tasks before lunch or maybe during that later surge if you get one.
Got it.
And if you're PM shifted, a night owl, you'll find yourself most productive late afternoon or evening. So you ease into your day, handle lighter tasks first, and then reserve your late afternoons and evenings for your real deep work.
That's such a powerful way to work smarter, not just harder, by aligning with your own biology. Okay, but what about managing all those tasks and ideas constantly floating around in our heads, that internal chatter?
Ah, yes, the mental clutter. That brings us to the third tip. Consolidate all your tasks into one trusted tool.
Get it out of your head.
Exactly. Relying on your memory to keep track of everything takes up valuable mental bandwidth, that precious cognitive space, leaving less for actual focused work.
Makes sense. Your brain isn't a filing cabinet.
Right. The key is to write everything down in one single place, ideally a dedicated project management tool or even a simple notebook, whatever works for you.
One place?
One trusted system. This aligns perfectly with core ideas from methods like David Allen's Getting Things Done or GTD.
GTD, yeah, I've heard of that.
At its core, it's about offloading all your mental to-dos onto an external trusted system that frees up your brain for actual thinking and focusing, not just remembering.
Freeing up brain space.
That's crucial.
Crucial. Okay, and for those of us who maybe thrive on a bit more structure, what are some specific time management strategies our sources suggest we explore?
Yeah. The fourth tip is to actively experiment with various time management strategy until you find what really clicks for you, because not every method works for everyone.
Right, find your fit.
Exactly. There are many popular and effective options out there, like
Okay, give some examples.
the Pomodoro technique. You work in highly focused 25-minute bursts followed by short 5-minute breaks. Really good for breaking down big tasks.
25 on, 5 off. Got it.
Then there's time blocking. We mentioned this earlier, intentionally scheduling every part of your day, designating specific blocks for specific types of tasks.
Very structured.
Can be. Or time boxing. Similar, but you set a specific non-negotiable time frame to complete a task, creating a kind of productive deadline for yourself.
Finish it in this box.
Right. Then there's Eat the Frog, which is great advice from Mark Twain.
Eat the frog. What does that mean?
It means tackle your single most difficult or maybe most dreaded task first thing in the morning. Get it out of the way.
Do the worst thing first. Smart.
Yeah, the rest of the day feels easier. And finally, there's the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule.
Focus your energy on the vital few, the 20% of tasks that will likely produce 80% of your desired impact or results. Prioritize ruthlessly.
Find the high leverage activities.
Okay.
Those are all fantastic practical tools. Finally, the fifth tip feels like.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like the bedrock for everything else we've discussed.
It truly is foundational. Prioritize your well-being.
Simple, but so often overlooked.
So overlooked. But a healthy body and mind are directly linked to clearer thinking, better stress management, and crucially, burnout prevention.
Makes total sense.
This means consistently making time for the basics. Getting enough quality sleep,
Huge.
regular physical activity, whatever that looks like for you, nourishing meals, and taking short, intentional breaks throughout your workday. Don't just power through for hours.
Those little resets matter.
They really do. Even low-level anxiety makes concentration incredibly difficult. So actively manage stress, maybe take those breaks, connect with a friend, try a bit of mindfulness.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, remember to give yourself grace. No one can focus with 100% intensity all the time. It's okay to have off moments or off days.
Be kind to yourself. Yeah, that's essential. Okay, so we've talked about so many personal strategies, internal stuff. But what about the world around us, the environments we inhabit daily? How do we master those external factors?
That's a great point. This leads us to consider the crucial role of our environment. One powerful approach suggested is to implement digital minimalism.
Digital minimalism. Sounds intriguing. What is it?
It means consciously, deliberately curating your information diet, being intentional about what you consume online.
Okay.
Well, instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds, maybe try using RSS feeds for specific news sources you trust. Or practice slow media consumption.
Slow media.
Yeah, like opting for longer, more in-depth articles instead of just skimming headlines, really engaging with content, and exploring apps or browser extensions specifically designed to block distracting websites or apps during your focused work periods.
Taking control of the tech, not letting it control you.
Exactly.
And beyond the digital realm, our physical space matters just as much, right?
Absolutely. The goal is to consciously create a dedicated focus environment.
Okay.
Physically, if possible, aim for a private space with as few distractions as possible, maybe facing a wall instead of a window.
Reduce visual clutter.
Right. Digitally, be ruthless. Remove or severely limit distracting apps from your work devices. Maybe even keep personal tasks entirely separate. Different browser profiles, different devices if possible.
Create clear boundaries.
Yes. And socially, this is important too. Set very clear do not disturb protocols with your colleagues or family during those periods when you absolutely need to dive into deep work.
Communicate those boundaries.
It's about setting and protecting boundaries that guard your attention.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, what's fascinating here is this recurring idea that focus can truly be seen as a muscle one that we can actively train and strengthen over time.
That's right. It's not fixed. The more you train it, the stronger and more resilient it becomes, just like a physical muscle.
So how do we train it? What's the mental workout?
Well, the final tip really leans into this. Proactively practice mindfulness and mental training.
Mindfulness, we hear that a lot. What does it mean in this context?
It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as a 5-minute breathing exercise just to center yourself before a focus block. Or taking a mindful walk during a break, paying attention to your senses instead of your phone.
Just being present.
Exactly. Or even setting aside specific hours in the evening, maybe after 8 p.m., to put your phone completely away. Break that constant habit of checking and scrolling.
Building the not checking muscle.
Precisely. These practices build your capacity for sustained attention over time. They strengthen that focus muscle.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. So let's try to wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
We've covered so much today on mastering focus in a world that feels almost designed to distract us.
Yeah, we've hit a lot of points.
We really have. We've talked about truly understanding what focus is, that act of prioritization. We've tackled those common barriers like the myth of multitasking and digital overwhelm, inbox tyranny, meeting fatigue, lack of clarity.
The big four.
Right. And we've explored, given everything we've unpacked today, all these insights, these strategies, these potential pitfalls. What single small step will you commit to taking this week? Just one thing to begin reclaiming your attention. And maybe more importantly, how will you truly notice its impact, not just on your work output perhaps, but on your overall sense of calm, clarity, and genuine accomplishment?